This lesson is about targeting and turning. We're going to help your teen build their skills so they are physically able to control the car. We're going to do this in a large parking lot where there aren't any obstacles to crash into. Okay, before we get into our left and right turns, let's talk about the steering wheel. Parents, remember, you were taught at the 10 and 2. We don't teach that anymore. We have an airbag right now. That airbag comes out at 200 miles an hour. So what we need to do is your son or daughter was taught in driver's ed 9 and 3 or 8 and 4. That is the way today. 9 and 3 and 8 and 4 is what's being taught. But I personally prefer 8 and 4 because of the airbag. Also remember to keep your thumbs on the outside of the steering wheel. If they're on the inside of the wheel and the airbag goes off, so do your thumbs. We also want to teach a better way of turning. We do not go hand over hand because if we crash right now, these hands are coming back to break your nose. All right, so what we would like to see them do is more of a push-pull, keeping the hand off the top of the steering wheel. Very, very important. Matter of fact, Mom, Dad, you guys should even try that yourself, but it's tough to teach old dog new tricks, let's put it that way, because your habits are your habits. Also, as we're driving here, we're going to start working on signals. Remember, when a student takes and puts a signal on, their tendency is to grab the signal and go like that. With their hand right here, they can just reach over and slowly push it down, slowly put it up. So you might want to just start working on that while you're standing still. Is right blinker, left blinker, right blinker, left blinker, just so because they need to get fluent at that. That should be automatic.
For your practice in Lesson 4, you're going to need a few supplies.
What you're going to need is a couple cones. You can pick these up $4 or $5 at your local stores, or you can use gallon milk jugs. Fill them half full of water so the wind doesn't blow them around, but you're just going to set them down. You want to use up 2 parking spots. Put a cone on there. You want to save a middle lane open here. We want this line for a visual as far as targeting the steering wheel. So you're going to skip that line and then you're going to put the cone over here.
This arrangement creates a fake lane where your teen can practice targeting the vehicle and learn to make nice, smooth turns.
The reason we want 2 parking spots, eventually we'd like to see you use 1, but this gives you a great visual on the beginning stages of the driving. That's why we want them this wide, but start narrowing these up once they get good at it, because someday they're going to have to turn into a narrow spot. Okay, once your props are set, it's time to start moving the car. So now we're going to squeeze the brake. We're going to put the car in drive, and we're going to release the brake a little bit, let the car roll. Remember, we don't want to go right over to the gas pedal. So we release, and now we're going to start targeting our steering wheel. What we want to do is the steering wheel is their arrow. Steer the car where they want. And what you want to do is target the center of the cones here, in between them. And actually, we could choose that line, that in-between line, and tell them to just take their steering wheel right to that line. Remember, hands off the top of the steering wheel. And then they can go right down, keep the steering wheel right on the line, and then they're learning how to steer and target the car.
Your teen should be using the center of the steering wheel as a reference point, but they should not be staring at the steering wheel. Their eyes should focus ahead of the car, not directly at the steering wheel, and not right at the front bumper. This is a common mistake of beginning drivers.
Make sure they're not looking too close to the front of the car, and they can't look too far away. They got to see the whole vision they're at. And then what you can do is you can just turn around now at the end of your parking lane. Remember, push, pull, push, pull. Push, pull, push, pull. When you get to the end of the lane, take a left turn and have your teen do it again. When you feel the left turns are pretty smooth, practice turning right. Now on the right turn, what we're going to do, a little bit harder. We want to always use our right mirror as our focus point. When we're going to make a right turn around an object, the right mirror has got to pass that object, and then they can turn as sharp as they want. As long as they're not pulling a trailer, they can turn as sharp as they want, and that back tire will not hit a curb, a tree, or whatever. So you got to get that right mirror past the object that you're turning around.
Another common mistake is jerky turns. This happens when a young driver holds onto the steering wheel too tightly while turning the car.
If your turns are jerky, that's what's happening, is they're not releasing the steering wheel. Watch for the steering wheel to come back on its own. Show them that they just got to release the steering wheel a little bit with their hands, because if they're going to try and bring it back on their own, so you want to just release it, have them release it.
As your teenager is practicing these basic moves in the parking lot, it's up to you as the parent to assess their progress and skill level. Teenage drivers can vary a lot at this stage. They can be clumsy or pretty coordinated. They can be timid and nervous, or they might be cocky and overconfident. Give your teen as much time on the basics in this environment as you feel is necessary, because the next step is moving out into neighborhoods.